I'm challenged. Here we go. As Diane McGraw knows, I'm very challenged when it comes to microphones in this room. Call the meeting to order and pledge allegiance, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, welcome everyone. Hope everybody can get dried off after walking through the... We needed rain, but we didn't need it this morning necessarily. Have some appointments to start off with. Parliamentarian Joe Moore. Sergeant at Arms, we have Chief Massey with us, and he has his handcuffs ready if needed. Timekeeper Diane McGraw, and our teller is Judy Butler. And we ready to determine, Judy, do we or do we not have a quorum?
We do not.
We do not have a quorum, okay. So we cannot approve minutes nor do any official business here today, but we will do the reports and give out the information, not the least of which is the results of the election. We have agenda. It was handed out when you walked in. I will take a motion from the floor to approve the agenda. Do I have a second?
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We cannot approve the minutes from the last meeting because we do not have a quorum. And I am privileged to give out an award this morning. The Sam Wilkerson Volunteer Award is presented each year. It is given in the name of a young 8-year-old boy who fell through the ice in Ocean City. His grandparents came to Ocean Pines Association and wished to create a way to memorialize the young boy by recognizing volunteerism, which supports our Recs and Parks programs. This is the 9th year that this award has been presented. The winner of this award each year is selected by the Recs and Parks Department for their commitment to providing excellence in volunteer support for the critical segment of our community. This year's recipient came to the shore in the year 2000 after retiring from the National Security Agency. His work here in the Pines has been a continuation of a lifetime of volunteering in his communities where he lived. He has coached Little League baseball, softball, as well as acting as a director in the Optimist intramural and travel programs. He didn't just coach softball, he also showed he knows how to play as well. During his 20 years of playing in games and tournaments throughout the East Coast, and played in the National Fast Pitch Tournament in 1972. He was also elected to the Maryland Fast Pitch Hall of Fame in 1996. In 2010, he served as an assistant coach to the Ocean Pines girls pigtail softball team. This team is made up of girls from 2nd grade through 4th grade. Our local Ocean Pines pigtail team needed some real help. According to many, few if any of the team members had ever played in an organized softball game. You can get the image in your mind of this team as they took the field. To make it even more interesting, our team was entered in the Worcester County Fast Pitch Softball League. The key here is they and their coaches participated and tried very hard. They did not win a game all year, but the seeds of a program were born. This volunteer did not quit when things didn't work out. He kept positive perspective and became re-energized to address the opportunity for our girls. From that season, our award recipient today met with the parents of those girls and the Ocean Pines Recs and Parks to create a staff a girls softball clinic. The clinic was staffed by members such as Bob Warner, who was also a member of the Hall of Fame, and Ms. Allison Lacey, a former pitcher herself. They opened the 6-week clinic for girls 8 to 12 Just surprisingly, they held the clinic so it'd end just at the time that the Ocean Pines pigtails and ponytails would begin spring practice. He and his fellow coaches have continued to work with our team in 2011, and by the way, they won a game in 2011. You can applaud, they won a game. Our recipient is Bill Dixon. His dedication to our youth and our community is hereby recognized by this plaque. Bill, please come up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. The image of that team taking the field just keeps hitting my brain. I admire your efforts, sir, and you're sticking with it. That's great. We now have a series of reports. First, we will hear from Joe Moore, our legal counsel, for our legal report.
Thank you, Mr. President. I can't help but think that the girls softball record kind of reminds me of the Worcester County Bar Association softball team years ago that I played on. The only difference was we called ourselves the Barflies. So, the first matter on which I report is the ongoing matter of tax liability of the association with regard to certain activities related primarily to the Beach Club in Ocean City. That matter is being handled by tax counsel with the firm of Gordon Feinblatt in Baltimore City. The present status of the tax matter is that Ocean Pines Association filed an appeal from the adverse determination of the United States Tax Court as to its tax liability. The appeal is filed to the United States Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals in Richmond. Counsel reports that appellate briefs have been filed by both the Internal Revenue Service and Ocean Pines Association, and the matter is presently awaiting a date for oral argument before the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals. Secondly, argument in the appeal of Ocean Pines Association versus Mid-Delmarva Family YMCA was held in the Court of Special Appeals of Maryland on Thursday, March 3rd, 2011. On March 22nd, the three-judge panel of the Court of Special Appeals issued its opinion affirming the decision of Judge Christian Call in the Circuit Court for Worcester County, making the determination that Judge Call did not commit reversible error in his decision, which was adverse to Ocean Pines Association. After consideration, the Board of Directors decided not to have a petition for writ of certiorari filed in the Court of Appeals of Maryland seeking further review of the case. Thus, the determination is final. At this time last year, the case of Marston Furlow versus Ocean Pines Association, Inc., and the then serving individual members of the Board of Directors was pending in the Circuit Court for Worcester County. On Wednesday, June 22nd, with motions for summary judgment on behalf of Ocean Pines Association and all individual directors pending before the court, Mr. Furlow dismissed the case with prejudice, which means that the matters involved in the case may not again be raised by Mr. Furlow. Fourth, the lawsuit alleging a personal injury caused by a former employee of Ocean Pines Association Public Works Department was settled by insurance counsel for Ocean Pines Association and is no longer pending. At the time of my report last year, 10 foreclosures for unpaid association assessments were pending in my office. During the year, the court entered orders authorizing the sale of all of those properties. During the course of that year, in each instance, payment plans were either worked out with Mr. Carmine's staff, or in some instances, the property owners declared bankruptcy, thus terminating the proceedings. This year, So far, we have sent out approximately 40 notices to delinquent lot owners of our intention to foreclose. 9 of those cases have been filed for foreclosure. The court has authorized sale of those lots, and unless those lot owners arrange payment plans, property will be sold at public auction under the direction of the Circuit Court. Also, during the course of the year, several cases were submitted to my office related to alleged violations of Architectural Review Committee standards or alleged violations of the Declaration of Restrictions. During the year, virtually all of those matters resulted in the property owners bringing their property within compliance of Ocean Pines Association requirements. 5, however, are still pending, and we do expect favorable resolutions in all of those cases. And Mr. President, that is my report.
We have a question.
Could you explain the issues of the first 2 cases that you reported on?
The issue of the case with respect to the appeal in the tax court, the Internal Revenue Service made a determination that because the Ocean Pines Beach Club over in Ocean City was available for use only by members of the association and was therefore not for use, quote, by the general public, close quote, that it was a taxable event, even though we are a 501c54 corporation and therefore not normally taxable. The argument on behalf of Ocean Pines Association, I thought, was an excellent one, and that is the association, even though we are a homeowners association, consists of a community of thousands of people. The beach club facility is only allowed in its parking area for approximately 300 people. So we cannot open it to the public without virtually creating chaos. Those of you who utilize the parking area of the beach club know it's difficult even for membership. However, an Internal Revenue Service regulation states that unless the community purpose of the association is served by a facility, the income that comes from that facility is a taxable event. The circumstances with regard to the Middale Marva YMCA, I say very painfully because we lost the case, was related to whether or not the agreement between Ocean Pines Association and the YMCA, which was drafted by me in 2002, I think, was specific enough to require the YMCA to build a facility that was intended to be built by the parties. Because it was not precisely described, the court held that the YMCA, by building any facility, had complied with the agreement. The YMCA alleged that the building of a wildlife observation deck, which by the way has never been constructed, was sufficient to comply with the agreement. Our argument was that the intent of the parties was clear. The judges said that the intent of the parties was not made sufficiently clear, so therefore the YMCA prevailed.
Thank you, Jim. Any other questions? Jim? Okay, we'll move on to our financial report. Herb Gary.
Thank you, sir. Welcome. Good morning, everyone. My name's Herb Gary. I'm the managing partner for my firm, TGM Group, LLC, which has been your audit firm for many years. And I'm happy to be here as a substitute for my partner, Chris Hall, who's been the partner on the engagement for several years. He was not able to attend today's meeting, but he's given me a cheat sheet to use to help me out a little bit today. And I'll give you a copy. First of all, the full copy of the financial statements are on your website, the Ocean Pines website at oceanpines.org, www.oceanpines.org for your review. I think there's a 2011 audit link on the website for you to find it. The presentation of the financial statements are very similar to past years. There were no new accounting policies adopted or no new accounting standards in FY 2011. And as you read your financial statements, you'll see in the auditor's opinion that the statements were, the audit was performed in accordance with accepted auditing standards. And we expressed an unqualified opinion, which means that that's the highest level of assurance we can give as independent auditors. The association itself continues to be in excellent financial condition. The association has over $30 million in total assets, $7.7 million in cash and investments, as compared to $6.6 million a year ago. 2011 was a positive year for the association in terms of operating results. The operating fund itself had about a $38,000 surplus, as compared to $172,000 surplus in 2010. The operating fund shortfall now stands at $272,000, which is heading in the right direction. The replacement fund had a surplus of over $600,000, as compared to a shortfall a year ago of almost $500,000. So it's a positive swing of over $1 million, which really was a result of decreased expenditures of $1 million of capital assets. The reserve fund ended with a fund balance of $2.6 million, as compared to $2 million a year ago. And the last component of the total fund balance is the property and equipment fund, and it had an increase of over $200,000 and now stands at $18 million at April 30. Overall, the association had almost $900,000 of an overall surplus, as compared to about $1.1 million a year ago. Again, a positive year in 2011. A very healthy balance sheet. I think some of the information has been passed out to you today. And again, the full copy of the audited financial statements are posted on your website. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you.
Questions? Yes.
Just Tom Sullivan, One Lighthouse Court,
Hi, Tom.
former budget committee member. I'm just curious why in 2010 more than half of our cash was invested in CDs and now shows over $7 million with no investments.
At that point, they were in CDARS.
Come on up.
Sorry.
You could ask me that. At that point last year, most of those things were in CDARS investments, if you're familiar with those. And this year, all the CDARS had actually matured, and so all of the money was temporarily in cash account as of April 30, because it's a snapshot of that last day of the year. Immediately after that, we put it back into CDARS with another bank.
Thank you. Yes.
With regard to the lawsuit on the behind the property on the ocean, on the parking lot, are we putting money aside if we end up eventually losing this case, or we're going to be able to have money to pay the taxes for this last year and coming years and that, or how are we handling that?
As of right now, the budget does not set that aside, but that's certainly something we'll have to pay attention to this coming year. We're hoping this case settles itself this year, but we will have to answer that. Any other question? Okay. If you could turn on the... Wanted to take the opportunity to bring to your attentions the kind of the state of the association, not just financially, but also I see the green coming up. In case you are not aware, the little camera that is standing next to Bob and then the one over here, we're actually streaming this meeting on the internet for folks who could go into a link and watch the meeting live. And, oops. We love technology there. Can you kill these lights? Thank you.
go at the back as well.
Is that okay? I just wanted to go over kind of the state of the association. This is my view of the association as a member of the board. This is not something that was voted on by the board, so we're all clear on that. This is my view as president. This is where I believe we are. Let's take a look at who we are. Who is Ocean Funds? Who's our membership? Well, the U.S. Census just came out. We're almost 12,000 people. 65.5% of them are under the age of 65. Close to 15% are under 20, which is why I think you see a lot of school buses going around our community these days. Households, almost 62% of them are owner-occupied, which means they stated that in the census this was their place of living. Of the homes that were vacant, 38.3% were vacant. 34% were seasonal, not for rent. These are the hard numbers. You can take whatever assumptions you want from them. To me, I believe it shows a community that is becoming more and more of a permanent resident type of community. You know, you also hear some things about where the ballots were mailed to later at this point to reinforce some of this information. But that's just a fact. That's who we are according to the census. We've been waiting for that to come out. And I think it does say some things about where we're going and who we are. What is the state of the association? Well, as the gentleman just asked me about the IRS challenge, this IRS case has been around a long time. Actually, 10 days after I was elected to the board is when we found out we lost the first case, the first round of it. Welcome to serving on the board of directors of Ocean Pines. But that's still standing out there, and it is a challenge we're going to have to face in the future, should we lose that case. We sincerely don't believe we will, but let's hope we can continue to win. The community is clearly taking better advantage of amenities. We've expanded service hours in the last year. New programs at this community center. I can tell you that a year ago, if you came by this community center during the week, in the evenings, it was dark. There was nothing going on. This place was closed down. It made no sense to many people. Why have a community center that wasn't open? Pool utilization. We're now tracking it better. We clearly have a good full use of those amenities. Rounds of golf are up. Are we making a profit yet? No, we're not. But are we going in the right direction? Yes, we are. Crowds at the yacht club, Java Bay Yacht Club. Yes, they're up. The general revenues are up for regular food. The banquet revenues are down. And the expenses are clearly a concern that we have at this point for this particular year, for this last year. But keep in mind, that yacht club budget that we're comparing this thing to, had the yacht club closed, that budget is not necessarily a measurement of how things are going, but I will talk about this current year a little later. General community cleanup. The south entrance, if you've not seen the new changes there, you'll see some pictures of that later, I believe, where we moved a fence for safety. Swim and Racket Club campus has clearly been cleaned up and advanced. The Beach Club campus has new trees, new bushes. We've spent some time cleaning that up. Basically making it fresh, refreshing the whole community. The staff, well, we have a new aquatics director. We are changing leadership at this point in Erection Parks. And obviously, one of the first things we tackled last year was the management of the golf assets, and we have new management there. We have new communications. We have a newsletter now that's in color, and I'm going to steal a little thunder here. It's costing us nothing, in case you're wondering. Some really creative work has gone on there. Videos being used. We have a Pines Talk program that we do every now and then. We have public service announcements coming out now. As I mentioned earlier, we're streaming this meeting live for those who could not be here live. We're using e-blast information, sending that out to our membership so that they can get information over the internet in their email. And to some limited extent, we're using e-alert, where if we think there's something that really needs to get out to the community, we're not becoming a replacement for 911. That is not our goal in that, but we clearly want to start and continue to use some of the technology we've got. IT systems. Anytime you run an organization of this size and this magnitude, you've got to take a look at that. And they did a very good job this past year of looking at the systems and improving them, changing the platforms, upgrading platforms for the staff, and amenity utilization is being tracked much more succinctly now, thanks to some of these IT systems that have been put in place. And we have a facilities assessment schedule that has been finally put together, which also put in one place, one binder, all the reports. If we've studied businesses and buildings enough, they're all in there. Is it a perfect scenario? No. But is it the right direction for us to be going? I believe it is. I think it allows us to now start making good, solid decisions and assessments of where we're going in managing our facilities and where we invest our money. But let's talk about money. Here's the real numbers. What's the impact of the assessment levels? Well, in 2008, the dues went up $150 in a year. The next year, we took a year off. Then we went up $38, $48, and $35. Bottom line is, we have increased the dues in the last 4 years $118 plus $150 in 2008. What did that garner us? The gentleman from the finance group said we're recovering. Well, what are we recovering from? Well, we lost $202,000 in 2007. We lost $137,000 in 2008. We lost $159,000 in 2009. In the last 2 years, we've moved into a direction which I think is positive for our organization. We clearly could not continue to have the kind of losses we had before. So this is the state, these are the real numbers. Where have we been? What's been happening? What's the impact on owners? Well, you can divide the numbers any way you want. There's 8,442 people. You can divide it by months, days, months, weeks. I use weeks. When we lose $202,000, you're losing 46 cents a week per member. When we make $174,000, we're making 40 cents a week per member. Those are the facts. Those are the real numbers. That's the impact on our organization and us as the members and owners of this organization. What do budgets really mean? Well, results to budget are clearly a good guide. It's the plan of action that was supposed to be followed. We'll see if we're following it. How did we turn out at the end of the year? But in my mind, it's not just budgets, it's not just revenue versus expenses, it's also services received. You can cut expenses to the point where you get no services. As I mentioned, this building was dark most of the week a year ago. When we look at services versus revenues and expenses, that to me is what counts. Breaking even and lowering services does not meet our vision. The vision which is on our website, which has been established by this organization a long time ago. Ocean Pines will be a premier resort community, offering exceptional value and quality of life to property owners who are diverse in age, economic status, and interests. I draw your attention to Ocean Pines will be a resort community. That's what we set out, that's what our organization says is our vision, and that's what we try to do. The real question for me is, did we get the services in a business environment, a workable level? Do we in fact have the services we want and need? As mentioned before, we lost $499,000 in 3 years. We're ahead $213,000 the last 2 years. I believe we're moving in the right direction. But what do we want? Now, you may not find yourself on this list, but there's only so many things I can put on a slide. When somebody says, well, this is what I want my OPA to do. I don't want them to do that other stuff. I want them to do this. Well, I want to play bridge. I want to make and sell crafts I want to play golf, I want to play tennis. I'm a beach person, I'm a bike person. Some serve on OPA committees. Some wouldn't do that no matter what you promised them. They want no part of it. We have people who like pools, they want to float around, they want to swim laps, and they want to compete on teams. We have people who like the parks, and some, they just don't want anything. They want nothing. Well, they want the grass cut and their trash picked up by trucks that don't drop oil all over the roads. That's what they want. So when we find ourselves at the OPA leadership at the board trying to decide the direction of where we're going, this is the community that we're trying to serve as best we can. Tremendous diversity in what people want, tremendous diversity in what they don't want to pay for, and what they do. The reality is, if you found yourself on this slide, that's great. You may have a hobby that I don't have up here. But the reality is, this is the state of our association, trying to meet the needs of multiple people. So snapshot, clearly, big issue is the IRS. We're moving in the right direction, folks. The money is going the right way. Is it perfect? No. The IRS case is clearly an issue. We hope to win that, but we cannot wait another, in my view, we cannot wait another year to not start addressing that issue. Our financial results are improved. But that's off of last year. Let's take a look at this current year since the budget numbers came to an end. The yacht club. The revenues are up, but we clearly have challenges there that need to be addressed. Golf direction is clearly improving, although the course itself is struggling. I don't know about you, but unless you want to pay to water everything, it's had its challenges lately. We lost a very important piece of our family when we lost our public works director recently, or big loss. Use of amenities is clearly up and solid, and facilities assessment is clearly a high priority with a lot of people paying attention to it and being energized by it. We're not perfect, but we are trying to serve every member the best we can. But we have to try to do it in a workable environment. We've got a great place here. Are there pieces that need to be fixed? Is there a dent in the fender every now and then? Yes, there is. But as a place to live, the real estate agents have clearly told me over and over again, we are the best deal on the East Coast. We're the best deal there is. We have a great community. It's your OPA, it's where I live, it's where you live. I don't ignore the negatives, but I do look to the positives, because I actually believe we have one fabulous community here where we live, and we have an HOA that is doing hard work to try to meet all our diverse needs. At this point, I'd like you to hear from our general manager as he wraps up his first year.
Questions?
Is your question for the
Good.
What is the liability estimate for the tax case?
For the tax case, it's a little over $1 million.
Has the board begun to think about how they would fund that and how they would distribute that payment?
Yes, we were having discussions at that. The Budget and Finance Committee is having discussions around that. We're not ignoring it at all. We just don't have the solution yet at this point, but all the options are being put on the table as to what we might do. Nothing's been decided yet. Okay? Yes.
So, since it seems that you're probably going to lose the tax base, has the board discussed any possible changes in policy that might happen at the beach club?
Well, first of all, your statement was that we were probably going to lose the tax case. I don't agree with you that we're probably going to lose it. I think we have a very strong case, and to net it out, for my mind, it comes down to the IRS trying to treat the entire Ocean City area as if that's our community versus Ocean Pines community that has over 8,000 homes in it. So it comes down to that argument. I mean, there's a lot of other legalese that the lawyers talk about, but that's what it comes down to me. And the other part of your question was, are we looking at policy changes? All of that needs to be addressed as we look forward. And it took 7 years for this thing to happen. It happened 10 days into this year we're in now. So we're moving a lot faster. It sat there for 7 years waiting to see what happened. So we're not ignoring it at all. Yes?
You mentioned the
Wait,
golf.
one first thing.
All right.
Name and address, please. Yeah.
Butch Colby, 372 Ocean Parkway. $1 million liability, is that as of the lawsuit? And so if we lose it, there'll be a lot more taxes that we have to pay, or is that current to pay?
That's the current liability. We've actually paid the amount of money that was due from the original case. We've paid that off, so there are no fines or interest on that. It's the subsequent years that are at risk at this point, going forward.
That's a good thing.
Yep. Yes, sir. Name and address, please.
Robert Frawley, 10 Dog Lake Court. You mentioned the golf rounds are up, but
Yeah.
you mentioned they're significant, and also there's been a reluctancy to release the number of current members on the golf course.
I'll let Bob speak to that. I don't know of any.
Yeah, we're not reluctant to release the numbers. Monthly, we do a membership report. I mean, you come by the office and get it. There's no reluctancy there.
Put that in the papers and make it known publicly.
Okay, I can tell you, I can get it for you.
And what percentage of the rounds of golf up? Are they
I can
significant?
get you those numbers. I can have those for you by Monday if you like. I mean, I have them all on my desk. Happy to get them for you. It's not anything we're not publishing. It's just not something I put in the paper.
Keep talking about the same thing. We know there's more activity there, but it's significant and to the detriment of what the condition of the course is in.
Sure. We'll get that published for you. We can do that next week.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, ma'am, I need your name and address back there. We didn't get that when you asked your question. I'm sorry.
Jill Ozierno, 83%.
Thank you. Okay, Bob?
Turn that on.
Oh, you're using a lavalier mic.
I am.
I'm off.
You're off.
I'm off.
We keep trying these new mics. And this one doesn't seem to work well. All right, we'll go back to the one Tom was using. Technology.
It's off, right?
Good morning. Is it working? Here you go. Good morning. Well, before I start with my part of the slides, just a couple of quick questions for you, okay? First, I want to know who has resided in Ocean Pines full-time for the longest in this room? Who's been here 5 years as a full-time resident? Raise your hand. 10 years. 15 years. 20 years. 25 years. 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 35. Marlene's the longest resident. You have something for her, Teresa? Marlene, thank you. Our longest full-time resident in the room today. All right, well, stay right there, Marlene. Hang on, Marlene. My last question of the three, who's attended the most OPA annual meetings? Well, I'm going to start right there. Anybody more than 38? We have another parting gift for Marlene.
Parting gift? She's not leaving, Bob.
Thank you, Marlene. Okay, now, whose own property in Ocean Pines? Okay, you don't have to be a permanent resident. We want to make sure it was fair. Okay, I'm going to jump right to 20 years. 25. 30. 30. Marlene, you can't win again. You're out. 35. 35 years. Dave Stevens. And we have a party gift for Mr. Stevens. After all the financial reports and all the lawyers and Not that you weren't inspiring.
Thank you.
But I like to have a little more fun with it. Tom asked me to come up and talk about the year in review. And Mr. Moore, where's Joe Moore? Is he still in there? Oh, hey, there you are. You promised you'd stay up front.
No, you won't be up there.
No, you're right. The comment yesterday when we were speaking, I was confirming he was coming, so we wouldn't take all the tough questions without him here. He said, "Hey Bob, I know you were a child back then, but when Tim Stoner was here, our last meeting was 38 minutes for the annual meeting. Can you beat that?" I said, "Joe, have you seen me talk at any event? I alone can cover 38 minutes. So we're not going to do 38 minutes, Joe." All right, listen, Tom asked me to give just my viewpoint where things are in the association. So I thought I'd run through some things. I see a lot of folks I've seen a lot, and we've talked individually, but this many people does not show up at a board meeting on a regular basis. So we've covered some of these throughout the year, but I thought a year-end wrap-up was appropriate. Now, I will tell you before I start, a lot of people say, Bob puts a positive spin on everything. Absolutely correct, I do. I think that's how our association should be represented on an ongoing basis. You know, one of the things outside when I'm out talking with folks, especially now I'm in this role, people talk to you and they go, "Wow, how can you work over there with all those ocean liners?" I'm like, no, we're just passionate people. We care about our community, unlike other communities. So I don't look at it from a whining standpoint. We're passionate. We care so much about where we are. That's a real big difference here. And what I'm trying to do as we get out and communicate outside of our gates is to share that message with folks. So I think being positive, pointing out the positive, there's enough people in this community, okay, in a lot of different venues that will find the dark areas, the areas aren't doing so well. That's why I don't focus on them. Everyone else, those few are going to point those out. I try to stay on the positive side because we have so many great things going on in the community that I think get overlooked in each and every day. So let me share some thoughts with you. First, last year, one of our primary objectives, and I try to share this with folks every chance I get, is protecting your investment. Your investment's your investment in your home. Okay, and as a homeowners association, I believe it is my responsibility to make sure that I'm doing everything possible, along with the rest of the staffing, to make sure we're protecting that investment with our decision making each and every day, and that includes making sure we're good stewards of your money, good stewards with our decisions of programming, good stewards of how we interact, not only internally but externally. Management philosophy. Stepped into the role, sat down, the senior management team came to the conclusion we had a real easy philosophy for everyone to understand. We were going to elevate or eliminate. Real simple process, sounds a little tough, but it really, for me, is a very simplistic way to look at business. You either elevate with the team or you're going to find another path or another place to be. And the reason I say it's not to be cold or callous, but the rest of the team that are working real hard deserve for every person on that team to be playing as hard as you are when you enter the field. And that's how we try to attack everything we do in our daily management activities. I'm very proud of what the team's accomplished this year. The business approach that we're using, okay, open for business, communication. I wrote it 3 times here because it's important to us. We're trying so many different ways to communicate because I think it's important. Homeowners Association means you folks are who we work for. As much as the board says I report to them, I do, and it does say in the bylaws, serve at the pleasure of the board, but really the owners of the company are each and every one of you. You're who we report to each and every day. We don't ever forget that. Lastly is the image. Again, I spoke of that real briefly earlier. What's the image of Ocean Pines? Not just internally, but externally. We're often, as in anywhere in life, you get broad brushed by the vocal minority many times, and that's not always positive. I tend to tell you we have much, much more positive energy. Unfortunately, a lot of those folks are usually the quiet ones going on about their business are happy about what's going on. We're trying to find ways to highlight the positives. Our team, we put an intense focus from day one on a teamed approach, okay? Through that approach, one of the things was dividing up the responsibilities very differently. Give you some just quick examples. First, we had Rec and Parks right here. The activities guide that was being generated each year. That activities guide was being generated, a lot of it was being handled here at Rec and Parks. Well, as you sit and look at it, you think, we have a whole marketing team. Well, Teresa is the whole marketing team, but she said we plus that up a little bit. But what is her specialty? Marketing our activities, marketing the association. Why is it she's not running the activity guide? From the sourcing of it, to the analyzing the cost of it, quite frankly, putting the picture on it. There are things that we looked at differently. Everyone had their responsibility based on what they were hired to do here. By moving that and using it as a teamed approach, I think we've created some synergies and we moved the ball forward a lot quicker than we normally would. Regular management team meetings. Seems like a real simplistic thing, but we weren't having regular meetings when I joined the team here. They were very sporadic and they were more reactionary. Again, different style. I'm not saying it was wrong, but for me, regular meetings are important. And when I say regular, pretty much we meet weekly, the senior management team, and we talk about, we sit in the boardroom, we sit around the table, we look at each other, what's going on in your department, what's going on in your department, oh, I'm struggling here, how can I help you there? And building that rapport has been tremendous, and when one part of the team is struggling, the others try to help. So those regular meetings have helped a whole lot. Lastly, the work order process, which was implemented, and we really take a strong look at. Each week we look at all the issues, and this is developed by Carrie at Public Works, tracking all the issues, the phone calls between trees that need cutting, to roads that need striping, to whatever you may think that comes up, are tracked, and instead of just one person receiving it, each department head gets their area now each week emailed to them, so they can see. What that's eliminated is if you've reported you have an issue with Rec and Parks, and it went to Public Works, the Rec and Parks supervisor can track it, see if it's actually being focused on. So it spreads out the responsibility to all the departments, and also helps us help each other make sure they're accomplished. Okay, some things we did this year. I'm going to blast through go through these pretty quick. New budget process for us. Each of the department heads was far more involved in building their budget this year. Years past, what happened was the budget was printed, handed to them, and just with make your adjustments for this year. We started with a clean slate and said, what would make your department better? And then we applied it, compared it to last year. We didn't start with last year and say, well, how do we build from there? Extended facility hours, Tom talked about that several times. We're open for business now. I think that's the right approach. We're here to serve your needs. We can't serve your needs if we close at 4:30. Technology updates. Introduction of a Microsoft Exchange, as opposed to using the POP3 servers, allows collaboration amongst all the users on the system. SharePoint, you're able to share, the way we had before, you're sharing a file. If you wanted someone else to have access, you had to email the file. With SharePoint, puts it on one system where anyone can access it. When I say anyone that's granted rights to it, it allows for more collaborative effort when you're working on projects or you're working on things that are impacting other parts of the community. The collection process, we're aggressively changing our tactics on the collection process. Let me tell you, that's not a fun thing to do in tough economic times. Okay, it's not something we're proud that we've got 40 more. We're targeting 40 as opposed to 10 foreclosures last year. Folks, there's no upside for me with that or the staff doing it. But I would tell you what's important: if we're protecting your investment, and the vast majority pay on time, you're impacted by those that don't. We need to take a strong look and try to work with those folks. Now, we do have programs in place. As long as you're working with us, you're not ignoring us, you're making payment plans, we'll work with you. But if you ignore us and turn your back and say, I'm just not paying it, that's when we're knocking on your door and saying, hey, you've got to pay the money. So again, it's not something we like to do, but we think as a practice looking out for your investment, it's important that we do that. One of the highlights last fall, which I like to bring it back because it seemed to work very, very well, was our leaf collection. Again, trying to look at things very, very different. We partnered with Ocean City, got one of their trash trucks, and we used it to clean the leaves. We moved more leaves than we ever had in a quicker period of time. Was it perfect? No. But was it a heck of a lot better than 8 years in the past? Yeah, and cheaper too. External, some of the things that we've been building on, we're really working to promote our image, not only within the community, but outside the community. Great example is working real close with all 3 chambers in the area, very actively engaged with them with their regular activities, to include a lot of them have had events here in Ocean Pines. You know, Berlin, Ocean City, Ocean Pines, all the chambers are working real close with us. We think that's important. You know, it represents the community in the right way. Focus groups. This year we've relied heavily on focus groups. I only put 2 up here, but these were kind of the 2 primaries. We put together a realtor focus group that helped us with, you know, they're trying to sell homes in our community, especially with foreclosures and people moving out, those type of things. How do we make sure we're protecting our assets? Well, we've got to get new folks coming in. Well, who's doing that selling? It's the realtors. So how do we make our community more attractive than neighboring communities? So we brought realtors in to talk with us, give us some ideas of what we're doing. Marketing department's working on some things that'll help us there. Secondly, the Java team, we had 12 folks that came in regularly, helped us develop the menus, that talked about the placement of furniture, talked about decor. Each step of the way, we had community involvement. It wasn't just 1 or 2 people making all the decisions. But that's quite frankly what makes the community great, is having that level of involvement. Some other things we did this year. We went out and visited UMES. They have a card system that they use, and most colleges do. UMES is interesting because we went in and spent a day with them going over how they use their swipe cards, what the kids use it for. I say kids, you know, the college students, what they're using it for, how they charge them. But you know, they can buy books, they can buy things off campus, like at McDonald's and those types of things. And the reason we're exploring that is, as you know, and I'll talk about it a little bit in a few minutes, is the one card we use. How do we use that type of technology better? Went to the Columbia Association, spent a day with them. 4 of us went up and we went off to our respective areas, you know, based on what we do, and met with their team. Columbia is the largest in the region for homeowners associations. Well, why do we have to recreate the wheel and everything? Why not go and see what they're offering, get to develop those relationships, and see what things they're doing well, what shortfalls they have, and compare it to ours to see where we might be able to make some improvements. Lastly, SU, we've been more aggressive with our partnership with Salisbury University. A couple things have happened. The regatta, that was in April, May time frame. We have another one that's supposed to come up in October with the SU students. We have, and Craig's in the back way, Craig, since you, we have some SU students that are interns, so the benefit to us is we're getting, quite frankly, cheap labor. You know, I hate to say it. I didn't say not intelligent, cheap. No, but what we're doing is, you know, using those resources differently. And the advantage is we're getting these young folks that are cutting it. I mean, Craig, and not to blow your head up, but I mean, smart and technologically going, hey, have you considered this? Have you looked at that? Those type of things, which makes us as an association smarter. In turn, he's learning the business environment. A win-win. These are outreach type things that we're trying to do more and more each and every day. Member benefits. A lot of people think, well, what is owning? What does it mean to me? Here's some membership benefits. We extended the program where you come in, you want to join golf or swim. You can now pay for it year-round. Okay, that's something different. Been asked for a number of years, just couldn't find a way to implement it. We found a way this year to put a package together. The reason that was important, at least from my perspective, our assessment comes due at the same time that these memberships come due. Today's economic times, it's tough on folks. If you want to use the facilities, okay, swimming, golf, tennis, but you've just paid your assessment, you're probably not going to use the facility. Well, what kind of homeowner association are we if we're not trying to be open and find a way to help our residents using it? So by offering the 12-month plan, allows them to come in and make the payments and then start at any time, but it becomes a year-round plan, much more palatable. Discounts with local partners. We really went after outside partnerships because, again, and not to use a phrase from some other institutions because I don't want any copyright, but membership does have its privileges. You know, what are the benefits to our members by being a member, owning property here in Ocean Pines? We've worked with all these companies to offer some discounts to you folks. I'll get in a couple of them in a few minutes, a little deeper. All right, we talked about newsletter. Tom had mentioned newsletter. Something, just so you know, some actual numbers. $36,000 is what our newsletters cost us each year. That's what's been budgeted, that's what we spend. That's between the print, okay, and the mailings. 4 newsletters a year. They go out. If you recall, they were black and white or black, white, and red. Everybody recall those last couple of years? This year we have full color, larger newsletters. Didn't cost us anything. Our last newsletter, you ready for this? We made $800. Now if you think about it, on an annual basis, $36,000 loss. This first quarter we have an $800 positive, okay? End of the year, okay, I'm going to be a couple grand ahead in my newsletter cost, which is really closer to a $38,000 swing, just by looking at it differently. Activity guide. Full color this year. Again, moving it to our from Rec and Parks, trying to produce it while they're trying to run great programming. What they did, Teresa pulled it together, full color. Our last spring summer, we had 1,300 more copies. Okay, new layout, new design, and we saved almost $2,500. Again, looking at each and every piece of the pie and trying to do it better. Beach Club parking passes. Okay, for those that don't know, that don't get them, new pass, old pass. Art laughed at me, he said, "You made real little." Yeah, it's fading away. Something I wanted to point out, old pass used to cost us close to $2,200 a year to replace. We'd order 2,000 or 2,500 new passes each year. This year we got a little smarter with it. We ordered one pass with the barcode on the bottom, okay? It's a permanent pass. Okay, we're going to get at a minimum 4 to 5 years, and we're thinking longer if you take it out and put it in your glove box and not leave it in your windshield all summer. We're going to get 4 or 5 years at a minimum, which means we're not going to have that $2,200 cost each year. Again, they seem small, but over time, these things add up. Movie tickets. You know, we're offering discount movie tickets. Now, I understand that the more mature citizens already get a senior citizens discount. I got it, folks. But you have people that come in, that visit you, you have family that come in. Well, guess what? They can run up and buy passes, or better yet, you can buy the passes to give to them for stocking stuffers this Christmas, okay, because they're good year-round, okay, and they're almost a 30% discount than what you buy at the movies, okay? Membership cards. Introduced the new membership cards this year. What you don't see is on the back of the card, it has the strip and the barcode. We're using those cards. It's worked out very, very well at the pools. We've had very little issues. You come in, you swipe. On our side, it pops up who you are, you're qualified, you're supposed to be there. We're able to track it a lot better. Now, for those that are looking, wondering who this is, okay, this was a mature citizen. She came in. She was 87 years old. For $50, Craig put it together and airbrushed it out. That's her new picture. So, as a benefit, we offer that at a $50, okay? Again, we're building momentum. Membership benefits. The other thing is we partner with Jolly Rogers. Very expensive to go over and spend a day, okay? We've negotiated 25% discount now when people say, "Oh, the numbers were," that's off of their internet price. This is dirt cheap to use their programming. We offer them right here at Rec and Parks. Again, we're negotiating on your behalf all the time, reaching out outside of our gates to figure out what we can do to bring benefits to our members. And the reason I bring it up, and I brought many of these up throughout the years, bringing it all together for those who haven't been to meetings to know. A lot of people say, "I didn't know we offered those." We do, folks. We're working for you every day trying to make the improvements. All right, some projects we worked on. I'm going to go through these relatively quick, but not everyone gets out to all parts of the community. Bulkheads. Finger piers down at the swimmer racket. All this is all new. The pool's all new. If you recall, a year ago, we found that this part was rotting. Had to close it down. All that's been redone. Finished this. Put the new finger piers in. Also around the backside with the gazebo, all this, you see the split rail fence. It was all cleaned up. In addition to this, there's a walking trail that goes around that entire complex now. Those who have not been there, go out and visit. This is beautiful to sit out there if you want to have a picnic or something, for those that have not used it. Take a ride and take a look. These are, they're there for you to use. Country Club. I go through some things. I'm going slides quick, okay, but we've done a lot of work over there at the Country Club. We had a significant leak. See where these steps go up? This area's been leaking for years. Leaked inside, causing some of the musty smell. Couldn't get it figured out. What we did was tear the steps off it, got back, the flashing wasn't put in right, okay? And when we did that, we said, hey, why block the view when you're sitting in turns? We built the steps back out this way. It's all cleaned up, leaks fixed after years of leaking. Instead of just band-aiding, caulking, we're trying to look at things from a different perspective. Don't patch it, fix it, and fix it right. South Gate, if you recall, coming out right over here is where Bagel's Ann sits. So you're looking at the corner there. We had the split rail fence, and if you recall, the fencing pushed right to here. And what it did, if you came out South Gate, if you were running, cycling, or walking, you had to walk into the traffic area. That was certainly not safe and didn't look very well. We put the same type of low fencing that we put in throughout other parts of the peak and made the road wider. So now if you're biking or walking or coming down here, you have a safe access through the South Gate. Different perspective of it. Beach Club, just an example. This is what we had. Some of the units up here were cracking coming off the wall. You see how this looks? This is what it looks like today. Couple $1,000 investment total for both bathrooms, all new sinks, all new displays, cleaned everything up. Yes, ma'am.
I was there recently, and my impression was that it's extremely unfriendly to children. They can't reach the soap dispensers. They're way too high. You're not going to get them using it. This is a lot of emphasis on hand washing these days. You really should be moving them so that the kids can reach them.
Okay, thanks for the input. Wouldn't know it until someone told me. So we can certainly put one in lower. They were put back in the same place as the others were. But we can absolutely look at that. Golf, and I promise we'll get those numbers published for you, sir. Golf, this is what was outside the golf with the bag drop. This is what was put in. Again, it was budgeted, it was there.
Nobody's using it.
When the weather, in the fall it will, when the weather's a little more inclement, people will lay it there. People used to. I can't say what they'll do this year. I guess they shouldn't be so.
They're working off the lower ones, the old ones.
Be positive with me. I'm selling.
The manager down there is working off the...
Off the lower side?
Right.
Gotcha. Okay, beach, over at the yacht club. Lot to do at the yacht club. Let me show you. This is what we did early. This is what it looked like when we were finished, for those who haven't been there. This is the front of the yacht club. Cleaned all the rotting and replaced stuff out here. Put all these in. It's hard to get a seat there on the weekend. I mean, we're using it the way it should. This is a different view. I thought was the best view, so I went in. Those who have not been there to see some of the changes we've made, I wanted to make sure I shared it. Inside, a lot of work this year. I'm going fast because I don't want to tie everybody up all day. But you can see where we've made a lot of changes. This has been extremely well received. What we've been able to do well is drive more revenue. What we haven't done well is manage the expenses. But we're working on some programming to fix that. You can't fix everything overnight. Okay, community center doors. Arrows the right way. See the doors? Everybody remember those? We'd be in here having a meeting and the basketball or the kids running in and out. I don't think we've been interrupted much yet. I don't think there's basketball today. But still, if it was, it would work for us. Yes, ma'am?
Back to the yacht club.
Yes.
I want to thank you for the clock
You.
at the pool.
Yes, ma'am?
And now, the next thing, that deck over there, that is Winter City around the town.
Gotcha.
It's on the to-do list.
It's definitely on the to-do list. Yes, ma'am. Unfortunately, it's not a quick, easy, go buy you a clock that goes up for replacement. That's a bigger reserve for replacement issue. Yes, sir.
Bob?
Yes, sir.
I know you're focused on revenue. Have you considered adding finger piers to the end of the A, B, and D piers for boating traffic? to come into the outlook?
We have, whenever you put more finger periods, you have DNR, there's a lot of other, it's not as easy as just putting them out there. We are and we will be looking at other strategies, especially, I don't know if you all have watched, our marina income this year is way up. So that was that was the ace I had in the hole, and the board made me plus it up in the budget. I think we're still ahead of what their numbers were even worse. So yes, by having access and offering those would invite more guests to come use our facility, and that is something we need to consider in the future. Tennis Center, made some improvements over there. Those who haven't been in, again, I want to point out some parts of the community that not everyone visits. All right, communication. We're trying to be out in front. One thing's in this last quarter, just some areas that I've been invited out and spoke to, community groups, Kiwanis, Friends of the Library, Women's Club. Again, I never turn down an invite to come out and talk to our community. And the reason why is that's how I get smarter. That's how we get smarter as an organization. Just like I would have not known that it's too high for the kids unless someone shared it. The only way I'm going to know is to be out. It's a contact sport for us. We need to be out in front and talking and getting the input. And we've really tried hard to do more of that this year. PSAs, if you have not seen on 78, we have accomplished 3 PSAs. The most recent one was about safe biking in the community. We are trying to, as we identify areas that need attention, not just put it on the e-blast, not just put it in the newsletter, but also put it on TV. For those that have it in the background, they're watching it, you'll watch a 30-second quick commercial about, hey, how to be safe biking in our community. Monthly financials. There's some folks that like it, some don't like it. One of the things I do, the reason I bring it to you monthly and the way that I do is I think it's important. Again, I look at you folks as the owners of the company. I think showing it to you every month, I know it puts us under a little more scrutiny from time to time, but I think it's the right thing to do. I mean, again, I could do it quarterly. That's what the past practice has been, but truth of the matter is you shouldn't wait quarterly to find out what the numbers are. I think you ought to know every month. That's why we're doing it. Again, part of that communication. Town hall meeting. We had town hall meeting a couple weeks ago. We were thrilled. We had more people, I arguably say, than we do at this meeting. Those who have been there, I see a lot of heads. I mean, we had a packed house. We were just bringing chairs in, and it was a great way to get feedback. All the senior management team was there. We heard the input. We went back and started implementing things we heard. We answered questions of things we could. That people had, one over here had it, but the other didn't. It just worked out well for us. Again, all about trying to improve communications this year. New programming. Just 3 things, and I'll give you one after this. Highlights. We put the Home and Garden Show here. Big hit. It was packed that weekend. This was a picture of the cooking show, which I thought was pretty cool. We did the health fair. Another one's coming up. Those type of things I think benefit the community, make this a better place to live if we can offer those. Big truck. Not everyone was into big trucks, but let me tell you, a lot of people attended. If you didn't see it out on 589, a lot of people, from bulldozers that we had, to backhoes, to the Bigfoot type trucks that came out. Kids loved it, and there were kids of all ages there, I will tell you. And then some partnerships that we're doing, like with Ayers Creek. They're down at the swim and racket area a couple times a week where they're doing kayak tours, renting kayaks. That seems to be working for us. Again, just trying to find other ways to make our community a better place to live. Last item I want to talk about, and this one was real important to me this year, okay? A couple things from my personal perspective. I've been a resident in the community, okay, for almost 23 years now. I've owned 3 homes. I've raised my kids here. All right. I've served on many committees. I've served on the board, and now in this role. I didn't know until my full year in this role how intense this community can be in a positive way. You just never know. You think you know it by doing this or that or the other. I can say I've probably served in so many capacities at my time here. This has been one that's been, I've just had a lot of pleasure with, and I've found a lot of positives. One is the commitment from our employees. Something that was really a cool thing for me was that over the holidays, our employees pulled together and we identified families within our community. We don't like to talk about a lot, but there are a lot of people struggling. Some families and children that would have gone without over the holidays. We didn't publicize it. We kept it amongst ourselves. Gathered food items, turkey, cranberry sauce, some gifts for the kids, and we went and distributed it to the families in Ocean Pines in need. When it came up with the employees, they jumped on it from all areas. We'll donate this, we'll bring that. It was really a commitment to the strength of our core group. Participation in United Way, we rolled that out this year. Again, these are things you guys don't see. Employees jumped on it. They want to give back. They want to be part of it. Lastly, how about the 36 hours that our Public Works team worked, okay, to keep our roads open and safe for us? We have a strong commitment from your OP staff, okay? You don't always get to see it, but I want to make sure I highlighted it today because we don't get to talk about it a whole lot. Things that we focus on, okay? Perfection's our goal, excellence is acceptable. It's kind of the mantra we try to live by. Any questions? Sorry to go a little long. I try to cut some stuff out. Yes, sir.
For some years, Alan Brodsky, 121 Windjammer Road.
Hi, Mr. Brodsky.
Great job.
Thank you, sir.
For years, I've been telling people in Tom Olson's story, I won't even use that shower facility down at the beach. It's always dirty on the floor, wet all over. There's no place to hang even a bathrobe right near the shower so you can get out of there. Or maybe some pads to step on, keep the feet clean. Why can't that be cleaned up?
Well, a good question. We did, those that don't know, we did attack the sand in the cleanup area this year differently. Different management strategy. Linda Hutner accepted responsibility of managing the entire facility. Last year we had 3 different department heads managing the facility. Created issues. If the bathrooms were dirty, there was no one on site to say it. Had to call back over to Rec and Parks, get supervisor to call over or ride over. In summer that doesn't work. Hey, fix this. Parking lot was controlled by Rec and Parks. Putting it all under Linda. Early in the season, what we did, instead of waiting till the drains got clogged from all the sand, which happened twice last year, backed everything up, just made a mess, we entered into a contract with a company to come pump the sand out once a week. Cheaper than what it costs for those 2 emergency calls, and it's kept, I'm not going to say it's perfect, but it's made a big difference. Lastly, at the start of the season, what we did was we hired an outside company to come steam clean and power wash all the grout, all the tile, all those type of items to make it as clean as we could. Quite frankly, it's an old facility. It's been there a long time. We are looking at that. That's one of the 3 major facilities that the board needs to make some decisions on moving forward. Yacht Club, Country Club, Beach Club, that we do need attention.
Yeah, you mentioned all the positive things, I agree. Yeah, that's great. You did a lot of great things. But what I'm talking about, very simple. Why can't you put a little mat down and hooks?
Okay, we had hooks. I'm not sure outside the shower. I heard you. Just like I heard the lower, we'll get you hooks. Okay. The mat, we follow. I'm not ignoring it. I heard it. We write everything down. So I'm telling you some things we try to do to make it
20
nice.
years.
I wasn't in the role 20 years, sir. I'll have hooks, I promise. Yes, sir.
Art Sachs. The beach club parking permanency is a good idea, but how are you going to distinguish from one year to another as to who's paid their dues?
Yeah, that's good. Great question. If you notice, the Beach Club Parking Pass has the barcode on it. We'll have scanners by next season, so when you come up, they'll just scan it coming in. 2 things that accomplishes. A, we can track the use of the facility much better, which helps us make good decisions on what we need to do moving forward. 2, if it beeps go, you're in. If it beeps no, you're out. Simple. I mean, but that's why we went with the barcode scanner. Did not employ it this year. We wanted to get all of them out. We didn't want to be wrestling with old, new, issue. We want everybody to get used to it. Everything's a phased approach. So next year we'll go with the little handheld scanners.
I assume the barcode will prevent the car pass being used twice the same day.
Prevent someone, not that this could ever or would ever happen in Ocean Pines, but it will also prevent if someone parks and walks to the street and hands it to someone else to get in.
That's what I'm talking about.
Because it will be, because we'll know they're there. Not that anyone here would do that. Yes, ma'am?
I'm Ann Williamson, 124 Cadillac Circle. So I come on the weekends, especially in the summer, but I do come a lot, and I'm never here before 11 p.m. on a Friday. And then I leave on Sunday night. And a lot of times I've encountered problems. The administration of the building has not been open
Well, I'm sorry you missed it this summer. We've been open every Saturday this summer.
Okay, well, that's a change.
No, well, again, that's why we're talking about it, right?
That's a change.
We've been open every Saturday, and we extended the Saturday hours even longer. So yes, we think that is important for folks just like you. You can also buy those passes here, okay, at this desk.
I'm also encountered that this has been closed.
Ma'am, this is open from 8 to 10 every day of the week.
On the weekends?
Every day of the week.
Well, again, that was not my experience in previous.
And that's what we've changed. Again, that's why we're bringing it out. Again, you're trying to get the information out. These are venues where we can. Great question.
So I just want to expand on it a little bit.
Yes, ma'am?
I've generally felt that a lot of the activities have been during the week when I'm not here. So I would never be able to do the Thursday night concerts. You know, that's an example. You said you had the home show on the weekend. That's good. Okay. But I would urge you to think more about people who come on the weekends because there's still a lot we can't take advantage of. That's my sense.
Okay. Thanks for the input. Anybody else for me?
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you all, folks. Thank you, sir.
Not that Bob would ever be positive about anything. I really admire the enthusiasm, Bob, that you and the whole staff have taken to move things in the right direction here. As I said, we're not perfect, but we're working at it. We will now move to since we do not have a quorum, we cannot do old business or new business. We'll now move to public comment, and the way this is going to work is we're going to let you come up and face the folks this year. Last year you were facing the screen, which a lot of people weren't comfortable with. And so just raise your hand one at a time, we'll hand you the mic, and you can have your public comment. Any comments? Give your name and address, please, before you speak. Thank you.
Thank you. Marlene Ott, One Warbler Court. The volunteer award, Sam Wilkinson brought to my mind that at the time there was a concern about the 3 freshwater, or maybe 4 if it's the hidden lakes, and I believe Ocean City, and they actually had it invented. It's called Sam's Ring, and it's a life preserver that is in a box. In the event that some accident would happen, then anyone that was in that neighborhood could perhaps use that as a temporary way to rescue someone or an animal of some kind. And it was just a suggestion that maybe that would want to be pursued at this point in time. That may help in situations where there is an emergency.
Thank you.
Thank you, good suggestion. Next.
Just Tom, Chief just told me, we do have the Sam's rings in each police car.
Oh, we have the Sam's rings in each police car. Okay,
Just
well, that's
as an
good. That's a
example.
start.
But we
Thank
still
you.
look to
That's
put
good.
something out there.
That's good. Any other comments, questions? Okay.
Tom?
Yes, Joe.
Yeah. The lady who was talking about weekend activities, I live in Berlin, and tomorrow afternoon, all afternoon, is the Peach Festival, which is at the Calvin B. Taylor Museum, and it's a delightful afternoon, so you all please come out.
We are reaching out to the folks that surround our community, trying to help them out as well. Okay, before I turn this next portion over to Judy Butler, who was the chairperson of the Elections Committee, I wanted to officially thank the nominating committee, who did a lot of work to get the ballots and then to get not the ballots, but the people on the ballot signed up. And I will now turn this over to Judy and thank her and her team for all the work they have done in managing our election here. And we will adjourn as soon as Judy is finished. Judy?
Good morning. Well, here are the final, the very thing everybody's waiting for. So the following in the order of the highest votes received in the election. But you know what? I think better first I'll tell you a few statistics. We mailed out 8,448 ballots. And 4,458 of them went to people who live full-time in Ocean Pines. 3,990 were mailed to other sites outside of the community. We received back 3,920 ballots. So a little less than half of us voted, so hopefully maybe that will improve in time. It seems to be a pretty steady number. It was almost the same last year. So I wanted to thank everyone who worked on the committee. The committee is Diane McGraw, John Topfer, Kathy Muncie, Kay Gibbons. And we had some great help from staff. Teresa, who is great. She just helped us with just about every little detail. Ruth Ann, who was the one who did helped anybody who lost their ballot or threw it away or the dog ate it or all those little things that could happen. We did issue some duplicates if they had a reason, a valid reason. And Dave, of course, he's the IT guy that runs the Scantron machine and makes sure that it smoothly counts all those ballots. And that's a great help because otherwise it's done by hand. So the following in the order of the highest votes received. Remember now we have 3 seats open. 2 are for 3 years and 1 is for the 1-year term that was vacated when a member of the board left. So there's 1 year left on that. The highest votes went to Dan Statursky at 2,062. The next highest vote went to Terry Moore at 1,766. I don't believe Dan is here. Terry, I believe you are here, right? There's Terry. Would you want to stand up? Okay, yeah. And the third highest went to Bill Wentworth at 1,663. So they are your newly elected members of the Board of Directors for 2011. Congratulations.
Who are the 2, 3 years and which one is the 1 year? Do you know that?
The highest will go, the 2, 3 years are the 2 highest. Dan Statursky and Terry Moore. Bill Wentworth will have a 1-year term.
What are the rest of the results?
The rest of the results, would you like those also? Okay. Les Purcell received 1,608. Richard Handelman received 1,467. And Victor Taylor received 1,164. So, the grand totals. Oh, yeah, okay, I'm sorry. I read the manual count. I forgot to add the manual count in. So those totals are a little slightly off. Dan Tustursky received 2,073. And Terry Moore received 1,780. And Bill Wentworth received 1,671. Les Purcell received 1,613. Richard Handelman received 1,476. And Victor Taylor received 1,170. Well, thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Thank you for voting. Thank you for coming this evening.
We have a motion to adjourn. A second. All in favor? Thank you.